Welcome to the Last Minute Fantasy Scramble. My name is Kevin K. Mac McCartney. Alongside me today, we got Bobby Digital Genius, we got Bud Stanio, and we are in the semifinals for most of you. So we're excited to help you win and get to the championship round. Got a lot of games coming up today, but we had a couple of games yesterday, so we're going to start by taking a look at those first. Bud, I know you like the way your Bills played yesterday against the Broncos. What's your takeaway from that game?
It's been 25 years too late for the Bills to be the AFC East champions once again. I'm super stoked about how that game went. We talked about it yesterday. Super happy to see Josh Allen ball out. I did start him in one of my leagues. Paid off all those touchdowns. I also started the Bills defense. Had the fumble recovery by Jerry Hughes for the touchdown. So that was pretty sweet to get. You're really happy if you started Stephon Diggs also. The numbers were there. 11 receptions for 147 yards. I know there's no touchdown, but dude, the guy is a what would you say yesterday? It was a PPR monster.
I said he's a PPR animal.
Animal, excuse me. But he's a monster too. Like that's crazy. Even Cole Beasley got involved. He had 8 receptions for 112 yards. So that was really nice to see. I know that Diggs, everybody is a little concerned because he looked like he had the injury. They brought the card out, but apparently he is okay. It was just a precautionary type thing. He was on the sideline. He's supposed to be good. So just real quick, we'll touch on the Broncos. It was hard for Drew Lock to get involved in the passing game, really, to his guys. I do know that they scored a few times, but that mainly came off of Melvin Gordon. Again, yesterday I said that that was the running back there to start if you were going to mess with that. He did have 2 touchdowns on the day, but he only had 61 yards otherwise, so it wasn't like a big yardage game for him. Noah Fant was the lead receiver there, 8 for 68, and he had the 1 touchdown. He was targeted 11 times, so if you do own Noah Fant in the tight end wasteland, that's pretty promising. But yeah, this is all Bills offense. It's that's been the one thing that Brian Daboll's really done for this team is improve that, given Josh Allen weapons and schemes that really work out to their benefit. So even next week going forward, I know they play the Patriots. It's always a tough matchup, but I think the Bills are on fire right now. It's good to ride that wave. So go for it.
All right, and we did have 2 games yesterday, another big one between the Packers and the Panthers. Bobby, what's your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I mean, it started off okay. I mean, the Packers scored on each of their first 3 drives. Aaron Jones got hot. He ended up with having a pretty good game. But then in the second half, the Packers didn't score a touchdown. It was kind of just a sloppy game in the second half. It was kind of a snooze fest. And the Packers ended up coming out on top 24-16. We'll start with Aaron Rodgers. He did save his day with that rushing score. He was 20 of 29 for only 143 yards, and he had a touchdown pass to Robert Tonyan in the first quarter. But he really got sacked a lot. And again, in the second half, it was kind of just very stagnant, that whole offense. So I mean, again, if you had Rodgers, obviously you didn't sit him. The rushing touchdowns kind of saved the day for you there. And if you can make it through the next round, he's got a great matchup against Tennessee. As for the running game, Aaron Jones 20 for 145 and a touchdown, and 3 for 13. Jones had a 46-yard nice little chunk run, and then he found the end zone. Now, Jones saw the highest snap share, the highest percentage of snaps he's seen at all this year. Because Jamal Williams left that game, I think it was in the second quarter with a quad injury. So you got to keep tabs on that. But I got to say, like, it shouldn't take a Jamal Williams injury for the Packers to use Aaron Jones almost as their 3-down guy and seeing the majority of the snaps, because he is just such a great player. He's still on his rookie deal. He hired a new agent. He's going to be a free agent. I mean, Green Bay, I would pay him. I don't know why they're waiting, because he's just going to get to another team and he's going to ball out. I mean, Aaron Jones is a stud. And so if you own Aaron Jones, you're hoping that Jamal Williams misses next week, because if Williams is out, he's going to be a locked-in top 5 play. And then as for the receiving game, Devontae Adams, 7 for 42 on 10 targets. Very quiet game for him. I have him in 3 leagues. I know a lot of people were counting on him. And it's definitely a letdown. But you know what? If guys have bad games, it's very unfortunate. It sucks. And you've been spoiled with how good he's been. And it just guys have sometimes you have a down game, and it was just bad timing for Adam. So if you can somehow pull through despite his bad performance, if you have him next week, then he should be able to bounce back. And then outside of that, Alan Lazard 5 for 56, nothing much to look at. MVS didn't really get involved at all, and Tunyon had the touchdown, but not much yardage. But you're still going to roll him out. So they should bounce back fine against Tennessee in a shootout next week. As for the Panthers, Mike Davis, only 8.1 points. He had 14 carries, 59 yards, 2 for 2 on the receiving end. I don't know, some questionable play calling there. I thought Mike Davis ran pretty well, and they didn't really feature him much. DJ Moore with a great game, 6 for 131, but the receivers outside of him didn't do much. Teddy Bridgewater didn't have a great game at all, fumbled at the 1-yard line. You're not starting him anyway. You got to be excited about DJ Moore for next week if you have him as a wide receiver 3 with upside, I think. But other than that, not much to see here from Carolina. They're just not a very good football team.
All right, so we do have a lot of questions pouring in. I appreciate it. We will get to you in just a moment. But first, I wanted to get to some injury news that is coming up. A couple of huge names. Ezekiel Elliott is not going to be playing this week. He is ruled inactive. Another big name is Devontae Parker is inactive versus the Patriots. It doesn't look like Jakeem Grant is going to go either, or Mike Gesicki. So Tua going up against Bill Belichick, that is going to be a tough matchup for him. But possibly look for Lynn Bowden Jr. or Mac Hollins to pick up the carries, because somebody's got to catch those balls. So, Lynn Bowden Jr. was a big waiver wire pickup this week. So his status was up in the air, seeing whether or not he'd be good to roll out this week. But I definitely think he's someone to take a look into going forward for this week. So I did want to start to get to some of your questions, starting with Dakota, who asks Akers or Sanders, and Bud, I'm going to let you take that one.
I'm going to assume that this is Miles Sanders. We are going to get a lot of Emmanuel Sanders questions today, I would imagine. So I mean, it's kind of close. I personally, I'm really happy with Miles Sanders performing again, but man, just the matchup is so good for Cam Akers this week that it kind of ranks him a little bit higher and a little more trustworthy in this case. So I'm going to go with Akers.
All right. So, Bobby, this next one comes from John, who asks Hilton or Evans, half-point PPR.
Yeah, I want to take T.Y. Hilton there.
All right. And Bud, John also asks CEH or Gallman.
Yeah, so that's kind of tough. CEH is, he got a little more work last week, but it's still kind of tough. And I mean, going against the Saints, but I mean, I'm sorry, I'm trying to think here. I think Gallman might be a little bit of a safer play here, just because of the Saints playing pretty good defense right now. So let's go with Gallman.
All right, Bobby. Mike asks Landry or Scary Terry.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with Scary Terry here.
All right. Yeah, he is going up against that Seattle secondary, so he has been struggling over the last few weeks, but he does have Dwayne Haskins back. They seem to have a good connection, so hopefully this could be it's setting the perfect scenario for a good turnaround game for Terry McLaurin. All right, Bud. Hansworth asks Sony Michel or Wilson Jr.
I think Wilson Jr. is a little bit better here. Sony Michel is any New England running back is hard to really diagnose or predict. Even when it was Damian Harris and he was a little more of a safer play, I do like Wilson, even though Mostert's there, because he's going to get work either way. I just think that he's probably going to be a safer play here.
All right, so this next one comes from Jose, who asks Claypool, Gage, or Kuti. Full PPR. I'll let you take this one, Bobby.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with Chase Claypool on Monday night. I think the other guys are a little safer, well, especially Gage. But I'm chasing upside in the playoffs, and I think Pittsburgh. I think Bud talked about it on Saturday's show. They're going to be. I think it's a get right game for them against Cincinnati. So I'm going to take the upside of Claypool there.
All right, Bud. Denny asks, need one standard, Hunt, Akers, or Dobbins?
I'm gonna fade Hunt. It's between Akers or Dobbins. I think they're both in like super similar spots. They're gonna run against weak run defenses, and they're both rookies, and I think both teams are gonna let them run wild. Um, I slightly like Dobbins more. It's a coin flip for me. They're both really good, but I would go with either one of those guys, especially in standard. But I do like Dobbins more in this case. I think he's going to get more work.
Also, if it makes any difference, Mark Ingram, who has been slowly fading out of the offense, is listed as a healthy scratch for today. So
Even better.
It is going to be Dobbins. It's going to be Gus Edwards. So look for a big game from Dobbins. All right, this next question comes from Ronnie, who asks, Breeze or Hurts? I'll let you take this one, Bobby.
Yeah, I'm going to take Jalen Hurts there. I just like his rushing upside more than Breeze. And I think there's going to be a shootout with Arizona. Breeze, I think, is going to be solid. But I think his upside's capped a little bit. It's been all year. He's not that same guy like he used to be. But it's still close. But I still think you roll the dice with Hurts there.
All right. Bud, Ronnie also asks, pick 2, PPR, Mostert, Wilson, McKissick, and Hunt.
I don't think you're starting both Mostert and Wilson. I think that's risky. I do heighten Mostert a little bit higher. Let's go Mostert and McKissick.
All right, it is PPR, so that is going to be a good boost for McKissick.
For sure.
All right, Bobby Sean asks Antonio Brown or Traquan Smith.
Yeah, I'll go with Antonio Brown there.
All right, nice. We're mowing through these. Get to all your questions. Juan asks Rams or Steelers defense, Bud.
Ooh, they're both very good. I do think the Rams are higher though, and going against the Jets, you got to. So go Rams.
All right. Kenny asks standard league flex, McKissick, Connor, or Chark, Bobby.
Well, I think you got to go with Chark. McKissick's more of a PPR guy, and Connor might not even play. He's questionable. So you could pick up Snell and use him as a pivot, but Pittsburgh's running game is just non-existent, so I would go with DJ Chark over those options.
All right, Bud. Garrett asks, deep league, Deontay Johnson or Lynn Bowden with everyone on the Dolphins hurt?
Well, not everybody on the Dolphins is hurt.
Everybody on the Dolphins is hurt.
Well, they are hurt, but they're going to test pregame. I mean, if like Parker and Gesicki are like for sure out, which
they are for sure out.
Oh, okay, they are. Okay. I saw earlier that they were going to wait.
Parker, Gesicki, and Jakeem Grant are all out.
Yeah, I mean, he's there, but I mean, Deontay Johnson has actually been playing games, and we know what he's capable of. I do think Deontay Johnson is probably a safer play if you really want to roll the dice, and you think this guy is going to be like a gadget back, and he's going to get all the receptions, and he's going to pop off. I mean, go for it, but if he doesn't really like emerge and do anything, and you end up losing, don't be upset about it either. I think Deontay Johnson is probably just a safer play here. I wouldn't get like risky right now unless like you're completely suffering at a specific position. Don't make mistakes, especially when we're in semifinals right now.
Yeah, and speaking of which, talking about risk, we did have plenty of games already. And you could be down in a hole. You could have played against a Stephon Diggs or a Josh Allen, Aaron Jones, one of those guys. And you could be in a hole, and that might be the best situation to try to go for that risk. But you got to keep in mind that's your decision, and it's like the same Keenan Allen situation all over. The don't sit me. You got to take a chance on plays like that if you really think that could help you get to that win. But once you make that decision, you got to live with the results, and you got to know that they could walk away with like 2 wrecks for 40 yards and that be the day. So you got to be able to live with that decision to know if you could do that. So this next question comes from Michael, who asks, need running back and a flex. Are you ready, Bobby?
Let's do it.
PPR. Kareem Hunt, James Conner, Marvin Jones, Russell Gage, Kiki Kuti.
Okay, well, for my running back there, I'm going to definitely take Hunt for on Sunday night against the Giants. And then for my flex, I'm gonna check. We're gonna look at the status of Matthew Stafford. Actually, it might be pulled up here, so I'm gonna pull it up as I speak. But if Matthew Stafford plays, I'm gonna plug in Marvin Jones out of that group. If Matthew Stafford sits, I think that Jones's value takes a hit along with everybody else in the offense except for DeAndre Swift. So I would take then Russell Gage there. So keep an eye on Stafford's status. 1 second, let me just actually go to the next question.
He is going to be playing. Matthew Stafford is going to be playing. If that makes a difference.
Okay. Well, then in that case, I would
active.
just plug in Marvin Jones there
as
my flex, and then Hunt as the running back.
There we go. So this next question comes from Keith, who asks Gallman or Godwin, Bud.
Yeah, I kind of like Godwin just a little bit more. Falcons defense is pretty banged up. They're missing a lot of guys right now. Tom Brady, that's the one thing that's contingent is, Tom Brady has 4 offensive weapons that are not the running backs. So, keep that in mind that the ball is going to be spread out a little bit. I like his upside a little bit more than I do Gallman. Gallman will still get work and carries, but I do like Godwin, and he has the potential to actually find the end zone. So I'll go him.
All right, Bobby. Chris asks, Carson, Drake, Robinson need 2 running back standard.
Out of those, I will sit Drake.
All right. So let's see here. Hey Zeus asks, Tony Pollard or Jeff Wilson, Bud.
Following.
Depends what your situation is. I mean, if you're a Zeke owner and you were planning on starting him and you have Pollard, then that might be your pivot. We've kind of been talking about this a little bit in our Discord chat. I do like Wilson a little bit more. Just because Pollard's coming in, he still plays for the Cowboys, and we know that they haven't been too great this season. I would really temper your expectations with Tony Pollard. Regardless, I know he's going to get work. I don't know how much it's going to be. We know that Jeff Wilson's been looking pretty good there, and the 49ers have been playing like okay ball at least, and they've won a few games. So I like Wilson a little bit more.
All right, Bobby. Tyler asks, Evan Ingram or Irv Smith?
I'm going to take Irv Smith here. Kyle Rudolph's out. The Bears do have some injuries on their defense, including 2 CBs. And I think that could be a sneaky high-scoring game. And Irv Smith has shown flashes. So I actually am going to take Irv Smith there. Ingram's questionable as well. And Daniel Jones, it doesn't look like he's going to play in that game. So I'll take Irv Smith.
All right, this next question is for you, Bud. Holler asks, full PPR, tight end, Cook, Kent, or Irv Smith?
Who? Kent? Who's Kent?
You mean
I'm guessing that's Komet. I'm guessing that's Komet.
Okay.
Autocorrect, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's very possible. So what were the options again on that? I'm sorry.
Jared Cook, Komet, or Irv Smith?
Man, I'm gonna fade Irv Smith. I know people are high on him, and we'll make it a little bit easier between Cook. I think Cook is gonna get some good work with Drew Brees being back, but also Cole Kmet's on the up and up. I scooped him up in 2 of my leagues. I'm kind of just stashing him and kind of hoping he pans out. But last week wasn't too good, but the week prior, he hit double digits at PPR. I do really like him this week. If you want to get risky, you could go with Cole Kmet. I do think he's going to be a very good tight end moving forward. Jimmy Graham's probably on his way out from Chicago, but safer play would be Jared Cook. Riskier upside play would probably be Cole Kmet.
All right, anyone could answer this one. Blue Alfred asks, is Devontae Freeman returning?
Let's check it out.
All right, I'm going to move on to this next one. Bobby, Terry McLaurin or Justin Jefferson?
Yeah, I'm going to take Justin Jefferson. I don't see how you sit him here.
All right, Bud Holler asks, Cole Kmet, Jared Cook, or Irv Smith full PPR? And that is exactly the question we just answered. So
Yes.
Danny asks, Goddard or Logan Thomas? More
I
tight
own
end
both of these
questions.
guys. I own both of these guys in my big league. I still go Goddard every week. He's kind of helped me the last few weeks. He's solid, dedicated points. Even with Ertz being there, kind of helps him. I know Logan Thomas is getting going, but Dwayne Haskins is in that situation now, and we don't know how that's going to be. Jalen Hurts. I mean, it's the same situation almost, but Jalen Hurts, played pretty good ball last week. I feel safer going that side of things, and I said it last week. Goddard is the lean option over there, so go Goddard.
All right, Bobby, PPR, Chark or Pittman?
I'm going to take Michael Pittman Jr. In a close one. I think he has a little more upside in a great matchup against Houston. Chark's got a tough one against Baltimore.
Speaking about that matchup versus Houston, Bud, why don't you break that down a rapid fire style?
Wow, like that? Holy moly.
Running out of time.
So, all right, David Johnson is going to be playing for the Texans today. I do still like Deshaun Watson and Kiki Kuti. Those are good options. Colts, man. Jonathan Taylor, I'm sorry I said anything bad about him. Start him. Phil Rivers is going to be okay. T.Y. Hilton's going to have a big game.
All right, so the next game we have is the Patriots at the Dolphins. Bobby, let's hear what you got.
Yeah, this might be a defensive battle. Both defenses are pretty solid, although the Patriots kind of messed it up against the Rams. As we know, a lot of Dolphin injuries, got a lot of guys out, so look for Lynn Bowden to have a nice little game there. That's really the only guy I would consider starting in Miami. I'm avoiding their running game, and I'm avoiding Tua in this one. As for the Patriots, I would avoid everyone except maybe Sony Michel if you're desperate for running back.
All right, so this next game we have is the Lions and the Titans. Bud, let's hear what you got.
Stafford's going to play, but he's going to play hurt. I don't know how I really feel about that. I'd be careful even starting him or considering it. Marvin Jones, you might be able to start. You're definitely starting Hawkinson. Swift, you could go ahead and fire up also. Other side of the ball, Titans, it's going to be King Henry's day. I think they're going to run the ball like crazy. A.J. Brown could have a good game, and Ryan Tannehill would probably be a pretty safe option at quarterback.
All right, Bobby, we have the Bears and we have the Vikings.
Yeah, I mentioned the Bears had some injuries in their secondary. Well, the Vikings, their star linebacker, Eric Hendricks, is going to be out this game as well, and their defense hasn't been good. So expect a high-scoring game here, and I like a lot of the options. Monster game for Robinson. I think Trubisky's a streamer. You're obviously starting Montgomery. You can roll Kmet as a streamer as well. And as for the Vikings, you're starting the big three, Thielen, Jefferson, and Cook. Irv Smith could be a streamer for you as well.
All right, Bud, you wanted this one. Jaguars at the Ravens. What do you got on this game?
Licking my chops at this one. Let me get J.K. Dobbins. Let me get Mark Andrews. Let me get Lamar Jackson. All those guys are going to ball out today. Also, let me get J-Rob on the Jaguar side of things. I'm going to disagree with Bobby here. I do think DJ Chark is going to get some work today. Gardner Minshew being back, that's his favorite target. So expect good games out of them. This is going to be a good one. Ravens are going to eke it out. They lock up, or they're going to enhance their playoff hopes with a win here.
All right, Bobby, we have the Seahawks at the football team.
Yeah, Dwayne Haskins getting the start, but you still got to go back to Terry here. McKissick you can roll out as a PPR flex running back. Logan Thomas has been seeing volume. You can roll him out as well. As for Seattle, I mean, you got to just start your studs there. Russell Wilson, Chris Carson, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett. Even though they're playing against a tougher defense, expect a good game out of Metcalf. and Carson as well.
All right, Bud. This next game, we have the Buccaneers or the Falcons at this divisional matchup.
Yeah, it should be a really good one for the Bucks. Brady is gonna, spread the ball out. He's gonna pass. There is no Rojo. Pray for Rojo. And Leonard Fournette, man, he's a risky start. I'd be very careful with that. Same thing for Shady McCoy. Don't start him. Otherwise, Falcons, you're starting Ridley, starting Hurst. Julio's out. So, but I don't see the Falcons winning this one.
All right, Bob, you got the 49ers and the Cowboys. Would have been a great game 25 years ago.
Absolutely. It was supposed to be the Sunday night game this year. Obviously, it was flexed out this week. Cowboys are an awful rushing defense, so I think you can get away with Mostert and Jeff Wilson, both who are splitting carries, as good, decent running back plays here. And then obviously Brandon Ayuk, you're starting. He's a stud. As for the Cowboys, I mean, I guess you got to roll out Amari Cooper, and Tony Pollard could be an RB2 for you.
All right,
see,
Bud, we have
volume.
the Eagles at the Cardinals.
Yeah, man. A lot of people think that the Cardinals are going to win this, but the Eagles upset New Orleans last week. I like Jalen Hurts a lot. Miles Sanders, I do like a lot better. It seems that he, played a lot better with Jalen Hurts being there. Goddard is a safe play. Be careful about any of the wide receivers on that side. Cardinals, you're obviously starting Murray.
Game of the day,
Hopkins,
Chiefs Saints.
and
Bobby, what you got?
Man, this is the big game on the slate today. I mean, this could be a potential Super Bowl preview as well. Drew Brees coming back in time. Now, Michael Thomas is out, so Alvin Kamara is going to be back to, I think he's going to be could finish as the number 1 overall running back this week. He's going to get a lot of work. I think Murray you can get away with. They might use him more to try to keep Mahomes off the field. And I like Manny Sanders and Jared Cook as upside plays. As for Kansas City, I don't need to say anymore. If you're not starting those big players on their team, then I don't know what you're doing.
We have the Jets and the Rams.
Ooh, Jets. The line in this game is 17, minus 17. That's insane. You're starting your Rams. Goff. You're starting, Cup. You're starting Bobby Trees. You're starting Cam Akers for sure. Those are your safe starts right there. I'd be careful about the other running backs for the Rams side. Nobody really,
I'm calling it Jets win. Bobby, Sunday Night Football,
Ooh.
Browns and the Giants.
Yeah, this was flexed into the Sunday night game, and for real football standards, it's a pretty intriguing matchup. I think that, Bud mentioned about Wayne Gallman, he's seeing the volume. Doesn't look like Freeman's going to play this game, by the way, so I like Wayne Gallman as well. He's going to see the volume, but I can't trust anybody else on the Giants team. As for the Browns, I think you can roll out Landry. I think you can roll out Higgins if you're desperate for a wide receiver 3 option.
Monday
and Chubb
Night
and Hunt are
Football,
gonna eat.
Steelers at Bengals. Bud, finish it off.
All right, yeah. So you like your wide receivers here. I think this is a get-right game for Connor. He's still questionable, so keep an eye on that. So hopefully if he plays, if not, it's going to be Snell. But Ryan Finley is going to be quarterback. I think this is going to be a really good game for the Steelers defense, but I don't really like anybody on the Bengals side, so be
And
cautious
that
there.
is time. So, Bobby, Danny asks, had Adams play last night? Need to make up points. Can only use 2. Ayuk, Woods, or Jefferson.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, man. I had Adams. So he can only need 2 out of Ayuk, Jefferson, and Woods.
That's correct.
Wow, those are all great options. So over here, since you obviously need to make up the points, I'm gonna look at strictly upside. And when it comes to upside, I think Ayuk and Jefferson have higher upside than Woods, so I'll take those 2.
Like all 3 are side by side. Honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's really tough.
All right, Bud Nordine asks, PPR, Matthew Stafford or Phillip Rivers?
Yeah, let me get Phil Rivers. I know Matt Stafford playing is a big deal to some people. He's one of the toughest guys, man. I'll give him all the credit in the world playing through these injuries, but it really scares me. He's a sack away from, becoming a heap. Like I don't I don't trust it. And Phil Rivers has been really getting going with the offense lately, and playing the Texans, it's automatic for me.
All right, Bobby. Corey asks Ahmed or Pollard, full PPR, and Ahmed is going to be playing today. That is a injury update we got.
Yeah, so I think Ahmed does get the majority of carries here, but I'm going to take Pollard in this matchup.
All right, Bud. Jose asks McKissick or Gallman, full PPR.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I like McKissick a little bit more. If it's PPR, that's just me personally because they've really been involving him and really been giving him a lot of targets. I just, I don't know if I see Wayne Gallman having like a monster day against Cleveland. So let's go McKissick here.
All right, so Antonio Brown or Kuti at flex, Bobby.
I'm going to take Antonio Brown.
All right, this next question is for you, Bud. McLaurin or Juju, half point PPR.
Terry, make that one easy.
All right. This next question comes from Brandon. PPR flex, Bolden, Fournette, or Pollard? Bobby?
Who was the first one?
Bolden.
Who?
I don't know, Fournette or Pollard?
Yeah.
Bowden, probably. That's probably Bowden.
Bowden. Okay. Lynn Bowden. Yeah, I'm gonna take Tony Pollard. I think just based on the volume he's gonna get.
All right. Sometimes we gotta figure out some mysteries here. All right, Bud. Taylor asks Claypool, Boyd, or Gage?
You know, Boyd is going to be a fade for me. Just because of, the quarterback situation over there. I think Claypool is definitely the safer option here. Gage is going to get some work with Julio being out, but I really like Chase Claypool getting right against the Bengals this week.
All right, Bobby, this next question comes from Mark, who asks Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins, Zeke, who's not playing, or Chris Godwin in the flex, PPR.
For me, that's between Cam and J.K. Dobbins. I think both are going to have great games, but if you had to ask me to pick one, I would take Cam Akers.
All right, Bud. Carson or Jeff Wilson, half point PPR.
Man, for me, it's Carson. I like Seattle's offense a little bit more. They are going to have a pretty tough matchup, but I do like Carson getting involved and getting going.
All right, Bobby. Goddard or Komet, PPR.
Yeah, I agree with Bud. Goddard is the main target in that offense in the passing game, so I will take Goddard.
All right, Bud. Danny asks, does Shady McCoy have PPR value this week?
I believe they said that he's going to get some third down work and be involved in the PPR game. I don't. It was so hard even with Rojo there to really trust what's going on with the situation. Arians tries to keep it all smoke and mirrors, so keep that in mind. But I don't. It's hard to really trust it. And if you're in a desperation spot, you could go for it. I picked him up to block my opponent who had Rojo, just to kind of grief him a little bit. But then I dropped him again. I'm not using him. But I'd be very, very, very cautious about even considering starting LaShawn McCoy this week.
All right, Bobby. This next one comes from Zach, who asks, I have to click see more on this one. This is a long one. A.J. Brown, Allen Robinson, Brandon Ayuk as wide receiver 1 and 2, flex Cam Akers or J.K. Dobbins. All right, I guess the question is just flex Cam Akers or J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, I think I answered it a few questions ago. Again, it's close. You can't go wrong with either this week, I don't think. But between those two, I'll slightly side with Akers.
All right. Patrick asks, need a wide receiver and a flex. These are your options. Hopkins, Tyler Lockett, Corey Davis, Justin Jefferson. One wide receiver, one flex. Hopkins, Lockett, Davis, and JJ.
I say that Hopkins should be a start for your wide receiver.
And then you got to start Justin Jefferson too, right? Or you think Tyler
Yeah,
Lockett over him?
yeah. So Lockett's been kind of, we talk about him being boomer bust wide receiver 3. Uh, I still stand by that. I own him. I start him just because I have Russell Wilson too, so I kind of root for the stack a little bit. But Justin Jefferson is definitely better in terms of consistent points. So I think you'd be safer with him in the flex for sure over Lockett. But don't be surprised if Lockett has a good game. It can happen at any point in time. It's just a matter of when. But he hasn't had like a real monster game since like October. So take that for what it's worth.
All right, Bobby. Mark asks Ahmed Bowden Jr. or Kuti at the flex.
If it's a PPR league, I'll take Bowden Jr. Because I like the volume he was getting last time, and they have a lot of injuries. And if it's a standard, I tend to go with the running back more, so I'll take Ahmed in standard.
All right, Bud. Michael asks half point PPR flex, Deontay Johnson or J.K. Dobbins.
Ooh. Deontay Johnson is ranked higher, but I do like the case for Dobbins' upside. We did talk about that earlier. I think he's going to have a very good game. That's not just me. It's majority of the of the fantasy community. So yeah,
half
man.
point PPR, if that makes
Yeah,
a
that's what. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think. I'm trying to grab. Personally, I like Dobbins myself, but I think Deontay Johnson might be the safer play because he's probably going to have the case for more touchdowns. The half point PPR really doesn't sway me too much, but I do think Dobbins is going to have a ton of running yards. He might get a couple of receptions himself, and he's going against a weak defense. So I like Dobbins. Johnson's safer play. That's all I'm going to really say about that.
All right, Bobby. Mario asks Hurts versus Arizona or Rivers versus Houston. And I think I know what you're going to say here.
Yeah, I'm going to say Hurts, and I just want to make my case for Hurts real quick. I think you could make the case for Rivers as well. But look, you can't ignore the fact that he got 18 carries last game and over 100 rushing yards as a quarterback against the Saints. And the eye test, I thought he passed the eye test. I think he looked in control, and he just provided a spark to the offense. And for the Eagles have a lot of guys out in their secondary this week, and I think it's Kyler Murray's getting healthier and healthier, and I think they're going to put up points. I think this is going to be a shootout, and so I want that upside with Jalen Hurts.
All right. So this next question, I feel we've answered this in some way, shape, or form, but let's do it again just for good measure. Irv Smith or Goddard? Bud?
Goddard.
All right. Bobby, Ken asks Thielen or Deontay Johnson?
That's an interesting one, but I'll still lean with Adam Thielen here.
All right, Bud. Noel asks James Robinson versus Baltimore or Miles Sanders versus Arizona?
I know James Robinson's coming off of a bad week, but he's been playing great ball all season. He does have the harder defense. I do think though that they get him, consistently involved. But I do think that Sanders has a good matchup also. I don't think you could go wrong either way here, but I do like James Robinson more. I'm personally in the league that I commission. I'm running James Robinson and Miles Sanders this week. I think they're both great options, but I like James Robinson just a little bit more.
All right. So Bennett asks start Jeff Wilson or Salon Ahmed? Bobby?
Yeah, that's an interesting one because Jeff Wilson, even though he's splitting time with Mostert even admitted he's not healthy and he even had to get an MRI earlier in the week, even though they said he's good to go. And that matchup against Dallas is just so good to pass up. But I think Ahmed gets more volume here. And in this case, I think you have to side with the volume. And we saw what the Rams running game did to the Patriots. They just got gashed on the ground. Miami might look to do that a little bit more now with a lot of their weapons, Parker and Gesicki and Grant out. So I'll side with Ahmed, but I think you could go either way on this one.
All right, Bud, more tight end questions. Ingram or Irv Smith?
Oh, it's Ingram by like a little bit. He's a little bit safer. You hope that Colt McCoy, gets the ball to him. That's the only thing that's kind of concerning to me. But Ingram has become a fade for me after the last few weeks, and I mean most of the season too. The drop passes have kind of let me down, but I mean also Irv Smith is just like he's Irv Smith. He hasn't really like proven anything. I know people are all of a sudden like super high on him, but until he starts cracking top 10 in tight end numbers, I'm not paying attention to that. I mean, if you're desperate enough, you can go with him, but I think Ingram is going to be the safer play, but I don't expect much from either of these guys.
All right, more tight end questions. Bobby, Shane asks Logan Thomas or Higbee PPR.
Yeah, I'll side with Logan here.
All right. So this next question comes from Taylor. Bud, is Hilton a must start this week against the Texans?
Yeah, I think we talked about this yesterday about Hilton's numbers. He's throughout his career, he's traditionally really good against the Texans. And I want to say, again, ballparking, he's close to 20 PPR points, pretty much averaging every game against the Texans. So I don't think you could go wrong there. The Texans defense is really really gassed, really beat up right now. And I mean, we kind of already saw what T.Y. Hilton's been doing the last few weeks. He's been getting a lot better, and it's great to see like the monster guy come back and do what is expected. It was hard to see it happen, this late in the season, but I do think that I mean, depending on what your other options are, I do think you could start him. I at least say he's a startable flex and maybe even your wide receiver too, depending on your situation this week.
All right, Bobby. Eric asks Matt Ryan or Jalen Hurts at QB.
Just want to, for the record, look, in one QB leagues, Matt Ryan is droppable unless you're playing in like a 16-team league. So I'll go with Hurts there.
Yeah, and the reason I laugh is because Bobby and I both had this. We had a similar quarterback situation in some of our leagues where we've been doing a little bit of streaming, a little bit of grabbing off of the waiver wire. But yeah, Matt Ryan, Jalen Hurts face the same dilemma, but we're both done with Ryan. Jalen Hurts carrying us through the championship, hopefully. So we'll see. Next question comes from Bennett for Bud. Start Monty or Dobbins, half point PPR.
It's a good one.
Yeah, totally is. I do see Montgomery inside the top 10 though. And he's been doing super well lately. I do like Dobbins a lot, of course. I've already expressed my feelings on that, but I do think that Montgomery has more volume because Gus Edwards is also going to get involved over there. And don't be surprised if Lamar Jackson breaks off 100 yards today rushing either. So I think it's going to be a run heavy day for the Ravens, but I do like Montgomery a lot. So let's go with him.
All right. So I know we did have these rapid fire breakdowns of the games earlier, but Bobby, I just wanted to ask you, was there any game that you wanted to take a little bit closer look into out of all the games that we've gone over that you think are going to have big fantasy implications?
Yeah, Chiefs and Saints. I mean, not only big fantasy implications, but I mean, just in general. I mean, this is the marquee game of the slate today. And I think that this could be a bit really potential shootout in the dome. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes and Hill and Kelsey, and I think Edwards-Helaire as well. I mean, I don't care who they're playing. They can't be stopped, honestly. And teams, fantasy quarterbacks have averaged a good amount of fantasy points recently, especially against Kansas City. I mean, Tua had over 30 fantasy points because when you have to throw to keep pace with them. So I think with Drew Brees coming back on the Saints side, I think with Brees coming back, I don't think he is going to be 100% healthy, but obviously he's good enough to play. I think they're going to really, and especially without Michael Thomas, you look at the games without Michael Thomas when Alvin Kamara's played, and his receptions have just gone up incredibly. Coupled with Breeze being back, so I think Sean Payton is really going to use Kamara a lot, um, soaking up a lot of Thomas's targets, and I think Latavius Murray is going to get a lot of work on the ground as well. I think that's what they're going to try to do on offense, is to try to use some ball control against Kansas City. Yet I still think it's going to be a really entertaining and high-scoring game. And again, I like Emmanuel Sanders as a top 25 option in PPR. Maybe if you're desperate for a flex, you have Julio or something. He was out, and Sanders has shown he can produce. He had a few really nice games without Michael Thomas this year. He's a good wide receiver. And then I like Jared Cook as a tight end streamer. We were talking about some tight end questions. I know I like Cook over Irv Smith Jr. I like Cook over Cole Kmet this week. So I think if you're really looking for that tight end with some upside, I'd like Jared Cook as well. He was a top 5 tight end over the last 5 games last year in the same offense. So this could be a really fun game.
All right. And Bud, was there any game that you wanted to take a closer look into?
You know what? I'm gonna piggyback on what Bobby is talking about, because this is the one game that has me like excited and like also nervous at the same time. Um, there's so much going on here. With Breeze coming back, Alvin Kamara's value going up because he's coming back, but Michael Thomas not being there, so Emmanuel Sanders' value going up. I mean, and that's just like one part of it. I felt really good about going into this, going into my semifinal week. But and because I'm facing Kamara, and then I find out Drew Brees is coming back. So now I'm like, okay, so now this makes everything a lot harder now, right? So like that's one thing. Kamara traditionally plays better when Brees is there, because Brees throws him the ball 10 or so times. And Alvin Kamara doesn't get it done just on rushing yards. There are like a majority of backs that have more rushing yards than him. I think even like CEH has more rushing yards than Alvin Kamara. He is a scrimmage back, and with Drew Brees being there, he's going to get a heightened workload. And as far as the Chiefs are like concerned, I mean, the offense is monster. We've seen it week in and week out, but there's also been a little dip here or there. And I mean, we kind of saw Mahomes struggle a little bit against the Dolphins defense. And I know the Dolphins defense is great. I'm not taking away from them at all. But, the Saints defense is also like, right around there. They're pretty decent too. You kind of wonder if that is going to impact the offensive flow of, Mahomes and the boys over there. And again, another tough like matchup. I'm sorry, Mahomes, but I'm also facing him in another league, and I'm facing like Tyreek Hill twice, and Kelsey. Kelsey is the best tight end, and technically he's a wide receiver 1, and but he's in the tight end spot. His numbers are outrageous. So you kind of wonder though if the Saints can impact the offensive flow of them, and that's one thing I got my eyes on. I don't think that they will, but there is a chance for it. Just seeing the struggles against Miami kind of has me concerned for the Chiefs a little bit.
All right, so I appreciate all the questions coming in. Feel free to ask away. We're here to answer your questions for the next 10 minutes or so. Just want to get you all prepped and ready to go for this semifinals round. Michael asks, Thielen or Ayuk, PPR? Bobby, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, I really like Brandon Ayuk this week. I mean, he's produced in wide receiver 1 numbers. when he's been in the lineup healthy, even with Debo Samuel. And now that he's out of the lineup, or now that Samuel's out, and they have a great matchup against Dallas, I'm going with Ayuk here. I like him as a borderline top 12 option.
All right, Bud. Xavier asked a two-parter question. The first one, Lockett or T.Y. Hilton for wide receiver?
I'm gonna go Lockett just because he has the more potential to have like a breakout play or a big touchdown. Uh, you know, we know that Russell Wilson likes to throw the ball, so I'm gonna go him there.
All right, and Bobby, I'll ask you the second part of this question. Marvin Jones or Nick Chubb for the flex?
Nick Chubb. That's pretty easy for me.
Yeah, I think you got to go with Chubb if you got him. All right, this next question comes from Lois. Bud, for my wide receiver, Marquise Brown or Kareem Hunt, who is not a wide receiver, so I'm going to assume that's flex.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough one. I think that the Ravens are going to score a lot of points, so there is a potential for Hollywood Brown get to get a touchdown or to get a big play for free. But that's not to take away from what Hunt does for them for the Browns either. Just keep in mind that he's splitting time with Chubb, but I do like Hunt a little bit more in terms of rankings, just because we know that he's going to get some work. If it's PPR, he's definitely going to get a couple passes, and he's going against a weak Giants defense. Also, I don't think you could go wrong either way, but I do like Hunt more.
All right, Bobby. This next question comes from Mario again, who asks Tua versus New England or Matt Ryan versus Tampa Bay. I know they're your favorite quarterbacks this week.
Yeah, really. But it's the question. That's their situation, so we'll answer it. I think you. Wow. I mean, I said Matt Ryan was droppable, so I have to stick by that, and I'll go with Tua.
Really? Even with all those weapons out, like going against a
Yeah,
Bill Belichick?
I will. I'll still go with Tua, and I would do it if it were my team.
All right. So this next question comes from Roger, and Bud, this one's for you. Ayuk or Pollard?
Yeah, man, I know that Pollard is going to be the feature back over there, but the value on Ayuk and the way that he's been playing, he's friggin' amazing. I think, don't get caught up in the offense of Dallas and, fall into that trap. I do think Pollard gets work, but I mean, if you're trying to score points and you're trying to win, you better go Brandon Ayuk here. There's no question.
All right, yeah, especially with Debo Samuel out of the picture for the rest of the season too. Yeah, Ayuk is a huge play every single week going forward. All right, got another question from Mario, and this is for Bobby. Gallman or Hilton at the flex spot?
Yeah, I'm going with T.Y. Hilton there.
All right, Bud. Standard scoring, Akers, Woods, or Montgomery?
Fade Woods. Montgomery and Akers are side by side, man. In rankings, it's kind of close. I gotta go Akers. I like Akers a little bit more here. So Akers.
All right, just got a loud cat in the room. Bowden or Jeff Wilson or Pollard, Bobby?
Well, I'm facing that decision in one of my leagues, Jeff Wilson or Tony Pollard. I'll go with Pollard over Bowden and Jeff Wilson due to the volume. Again, I don't think Pollard's like going to go crazy because it's Dallas and they're playing the 49ers who've been pretty good against the run. But I just like the volume he's going to get, and he's going to have the backfield all to himself. Can't say that about a lot of other running backs. So I'll chase that opportunity.
All right, bud. Brooks asks, Mostert or Dobbins, PPR?
Yeah, let me go Dobbins here.
All right. So before we wrap up our show, we'll still have time for a few more questions after that. And sorry about that, Zach. Just seeing this now, did completely miss this in general. I am getting to your question, and I will ask this to Bobby. Evan Ingram, Gage, James, pick one, full PPR.
Ingram, Gage, or James?
R. James.
Maybe that's Richie James from San Francisco then, I guess.
I'd
In any
imagine.
case, I'm sorry?
I'd imagine.
Yeah, in any case, I'm going to go with Russell Gage there.
All right, so that is Russell Gage. Sorry about that, Zach. And yeah, to move on, we do have one segment that we like to try to fit in towards the end of the show. That is where we tell you our picks for breakout player of the weekend. For the rest of the games, we choose a player we go off of ESPN's PPR projections, and each choose a player who we think is going to beat those projections by a certain amount. Saturday, our winner was John, who picked. Who did he pick? He picked Zach Moss. Yeah, not the best name, but he did go ahead and he picked for this week. He chose Jonathan Taylor. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to stick with the Colts, and my pick is going to be T.Y. Hilton. See him having a huge game for everything we talked about earlier. He always performs well against the Houston Texans. I like him to blow up this week. But what about you, Bobby? Who do you like for this week's breakout player of the weekend?
Yeah, I talked about him again. I like Jalen Hurts a lot this week, and I'll go down swinging with him. He projected 18.3. I just love the upside. When you have a rushing quarterback in fantasy, that brings a lot of upside. I said I can't ignore that 18 carries he got last week for over 100 yards against a good Saints defense. I love the game script here. I think it's going to be a shootout. So I'll take Hurts for 30 plus today.
All right, Bud. And lastly for you?
Yeah, we talked about him a little bit today. I did pick him up in a few leagues, and I'm going to go Cole Kmet here. I do think he's going to pick it up, and really like the rookie tight end, because they're so scarce. It's so hard to find them, and he's really popped off. So he's only projected for 9 points. So let's go ahead and just say he gets like 15. I don't know. I'm ballparking. I always miss out on these breakout players. I always try to pick like the sleeper, like the backup, and they always end up getting hurt. So I'm really hoping that Cole Kmet finds the end zone this week.
All right. So we do have just a few minutes. We're going to continue to take your questions up until 12:30. So DJ asks, Baltimore or Indy defense, Bobby?
Yeah, I'm going to take – that's a good one. I like both this week. I'll side with Baltimore.
All right. So, yeah, we will be taking your questions for the next couple of minutes. I did want to just take this moment. I appreciate all of you listening in. And, yeah, we put in the comments the link to our Spotify and Apple podcasts. I appreciate it if you could sign up subscribe, do all that stuff with the podcast. We're on basically every podcast platform. YouTube, Twitch, and this Facebook group that we're getting a lot of listeners from every Sunday. We'll do it some weekdays depending on the week, but look out for us. We're usually there to help you with your waiver answers on Tuesday, as we hope to be this Tuesday coming up. And we even threw in a special Saturday show yesterday, so we're there to answer your questions, and we really appreciate you all tuning in. That being said, though, this is the semifinals, so it is huge, and we know that you appreciate all the answers you could get, all the questions you have. We're here to just try our best to help you out, so just make sure to find all the advice, look at all the experts you can, and we do have Roger asking in. I'm going to get to you right before we finish out, who you asked earlier, Ayuk or Pollard, and I think we all agreed that Ayuk is the play for that. So, that being said, alongside Bobby Digital Janice and Bud Stanio, I'm Kevin K-Mac McCartney, and good luck in fantasy this week.